I want to ask you a serious question. What are you doing with your life? Not your whole life, just the hours outside of work, the evenings, the weekends, the commute, the 30 minutes before sleep, the morning before the day begins. What is happening in those hours? For most people, if they are honest, those hours are largely going to something that asks nothing of them, that takes their time and attention and leaves nothing behind, scrolling, watching, passing through content that entertains for a moment and disappears without a trace. This is not a moral judgment. Rest is real, enjoyment is real, the mind needs recovery. But there is a difference between rest that genuinely restores, sleep, time in nature, real conversation, doing something you love, and passive consumption that simply fills the hours without filling you. Passive consumption is the quiet thief of a life. It takes the hours where your growth could happen, where your English could be built, where the skill that would open the next door could be practiced, where the book that would change how you think could be read, and it leaves nothing behind, just the hours gone. The same person at the end of the evening as at the beginning. Do not waste your life. Not dramatically, not in big, obvious ways that everyone can see. Do not waste it in the quiet, invisible, daily way, one unconstructive evening at a time. Today's story is about a young man named Omar. Omar wasted years, not in obvious ways, in the quiet, daily way, until one moment made him see clearly what the waste was costing him, and he chose differently. This is his story. Meet Omar. Omar was 30 years old. He worked at an insurance company, processing claims, communicating with clients, coordinating with assessors. Steady work, reliable income, a job he did well. He had a picture in his mind, vivid, persistent, carried since his mid-20s, of where he wanted to be. An international career, work that used his capability more fully, a professional life that connected him to the wider world, better compensation, more interesting challenges. He had been carrying this picture for 5 years. In 5 years, he had moved barely at all toward it, not because he was unintelligent or incapable. He was both intelligent and capable. His colleagues and his manager would confirm it, because the hours outside of work, the hours where the gap between where he was and where he wanted to be could have been closed, had been disappearing into his phone, into the television, into the comfortable, frictionless, entirely unconstructive passage of evenings. He knew this. He was not unaware. But knowing it and feeling the weight of it were different things. The weight arrived on a Sunday evening when he was 30 years old. He was on his sofa. He had been there for 3 hours. He had watched 2 episodes of a series he did not particularly care about and spent the rest of the time scrolling without purpose. He put down his phone. He thought about the picture, the international career, the wider world, the better version of his professional life. He thought about 5 years and he thought, I have wasted 5 years. Not all of it. He had worked hard at his job. He had maintained relationships. He had not been unhappy. But the hours outside of work, 5 years of evenings and weekends, had produced almost nothing toward the life he wanted. Almost nothing had been built. Almost nothing had grown. He sat with that thought for a long time. The calculation he made. He picked up a piece of paper. He did something he had never done before. He calculated. If he lived to 75, he had 45 years remaining. Of those 45 years, approximately a third would be sleep. Another significant portion would be work, meals, commuting, obligations. The genuinely discretionary time, the hours that were truly his to direct, was approximately 3 to 4 hours per day. He wrote, 3 hours per day for 45 years, 365 days in a year, 3 hours per day, 1,095 discretionary hours per year. Across 45 remaining years, 49,275 hours. He looked at the number, 49,000 hours of genuinely discretionary time remaining in his life. And then he thought about what 3 hours per day of intentional, directed building effort would produce over 1 year, over five, over the remaining 45. Not all of it. He did not need all of it. Rest was real, enjoyment was real, but a portion, even a third, even an hour per day, directed consistently over years toward the life he wanted. He thought about English, about the international career, about the gap that had not closed in 5 years. He wrote, starting tomorrow, 1 hour, every day. The waste ends here. He put the paper in his notebook. He set his alarm for 6 o'clock. Lesson one, the first week, Monday morning, 6 o'clock. He got up, he made coffee, he sat at his desk, he opened the English course he had downloaded and never started 8 months ago. Lesson one, basic vocabulary, the very beginning. He felt briefly the awareness of starting at the beginning at 30 years old, 5 years after the picture had first formed. He let the feeling pass. He studied for 45 minutes. He wrote in his notebook, Monday, lesson one, 45 years ahead. This is where the waste ends. Tuesday, lesson two. Wednesday, lesson three, plus 15 minutes of vocabulary review on the commute. Thursday, lesson four. Friday, lesson five. Saturday, he had planned to rest. He rested in the morning. In the afternoon, 30 minutes of English, a shorter session, but something. Sunday, lesson six, a full session, 6 sessions in 1 week. He had not done 6 sessions of anything self-improving in a single week in 5 years. He wrote in his notebook, week one, 6 sessions. This is different from every previous week. The difference is the decision. The decision was made on a Sunday evening on a sofa. This week is what the decision produced. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. The waste ends today. This morning. This session. I calculate the time I have. I choose how to use it deliberately. 45 years remaining. I will not waste them the way I wasted 5. 6 sessions in 1 week, the most productive week in 5 years. The decision was made on a Sunday. The week delivered on it. Starting at the beginning at 30 is better than never starting. 1 hour per day directed well changes everything over time. Lesson 2. What intentional hours built? 3 months of intentional hours. Lesson 67 of the course. 67 lessons in 3 months. Kofi looked at that number and thought about the 8 months the course had sat unopened. In 3 months of intentional daily study, he had built more English than in 5 years of intending to start. Not dramatically more. The English was still developing, still building, still far from where the picture required it to be, but measurably, really, specifically more. His reading comprehension of English professional content had improved significantly. He was reading industry articles, insurance, finance, international business, in English as part of his daily study. Slowly at first, with more flow now. His writing had strengthened. He had started writing short English summaries of what he had studied each day. Practice, his own English, improving. He had also, and this surprised him, started feeling different about his evenings. The 3 hours that had previously been going entirely to passive consumption were now split. 1 hour, directed. 2 hours, rest, genuinely. And the one directed hour had changed how the 2 rest hours felt. The rest felt earned. The television was watched from a place of having done something, not from a place of avoiding something. The evenings ended with a different quality of feeling. He wrote in his notebook, 3 months, 67 lessons, reading flowing, writing stronger. The directed hour made the rest feel different, earned, not avoiding. This is what intentional living feels like. I want more of it. Daily English sentences, repeat after me, 67 lessons in 3 months. 5 years of starting produce none. The directed hour makes the rest feel earned, not wasted. Intentional living feels different from passive existing. I feel the difference. Reading flows now. 3 months built that flow. I split the evening. 1 hour directed, 2 hours genuinely resting. The rest is better when something has been built before it. 3 months of intention produced more than 5 years of meaning to. Lesson 3, the moment the picture got closer. 6 months after the Sunday, Omar applied for a role. He had not planned to apply so soon. His English was still intermediate, still building, still not where the picture required it to be eventually. But the role had appeared in his search alerts. An international insurance company, a regional coordinator position, managing claims coordination across several countries. English essential, but not required to be native level. He read the requirements. He met most of them. Not all, but most. 6 months ago, he would not have applied. The English would have been the reason. Not ready yet. 6 months of 67 lessons he applied. He wrote the cover letter in English. It took 2 hours. He revised it 4 times. He asked an online language tutor to review it once. He submitted it. He did not get the role. He got to the second round, further than he had ever reached in 5 years of occasional half attempts, and was not selected. The feedback said, strong profile, English communication developing well, apply again when you have more experience in cross-border coordination. He read the feedback 3 times. Developing well, apply again, not closed. Developing, he wrote in his notebook, applied. Second round, not selected. Feedback says developing well, apply again. 6 months of not wasting closed the gap enough to reach the second round. 5 years of wasting had produced no applications at all. The direction is right. I keep going. Daily English sentences, repeat after me, I applied. 6 months of not wasting made that possible. Developing well, apply again. That is a direction, not a rejection. Second round. 5 years of wasting produced 0 applications. The gap is closing slowly, really in the right direction. Not selected is not finished. It is keep going. The feedback gave me a map. I follow the map. 6 months of intentional hours reached the second round. 1 year will reach further. Lesson 4, 1 year, the life that was not wasted. 1 year after the Sunday evening, Omar sat at his desk. He had been studying English every day for 12 months. Not every day perfectly, 11 days missed across the year, but 354 days of intentional directed effort. His English was genuinely different, not fluent, but genuinely professional. He could read English insurance documentation without difficulty. He could write English emails and reports with confidence. He had done one English call, an informal conversation with a contact at an international firm, and had handled it. He had applied for 3 roles in the past 6 months, not gotten any. Reached round 2 on 2 of them. Got feedback each time that was specific and useful and pointed forward, and he had started something that had not been in the original picture at all. A side project, an English blog about the insurance industry, brief weekly articles he wrote himself, sharing observations about international insurance trends, simple English, his own thinking, genuine content, 12 readers after 1 month, 47 after 3 months. It had connected him through comments and messages with people in the industry from other countries, a network that had not existed a year ago. He thought about the Sunday evening, about the sofa, about the calculation, about 49,000 discretionary hours. He had used 354 of them differently, and those 354 hours had produced a genuinely different professional situation from the one of 12 months ago. He wrote in his notebook, Year 1, 354 sessions, 3 applications, second round twice. The blog, 47 readers, international contacts, picture is closer. Not arrived, closer. I did not waste this year, that is everything. Daily English sentences, repeat after me, Year 1, 354 sessions. Not one wasted, the picture is closer. Not arrived, closer. That is real progress, 3 applications, 2 second rounds, the direction is working. The blog connected me to people I would not have found otherwise. I did not waste this year. That is the sentence I am most proud of. 1 year of not wasting produced this. Imagine 5 years of not wasting. The life that is not wasted looks exactly like this. Small, daily, real. Final words. Do not waste another day. Omar's story is simple. 5 years of carrying a picture. 5 years of evenings that went nowhere. 5 years of almost nothing built toward the life he wanted. One Sunday evening, a calculation, a decision. 1 year of intentional daily hours, 354 sessions, 3 job applications, 2 second rounds, a blog connecting him to the industry internationally, English that had moved from beginner to genuine professional intermediate in 1 year of not wasting. Maybe you've been wasting years too, in the quiet daily way, not in obvious ways that everyone can see, just in the slow, invisible disappearance of evenings that could have been building something. I want to say something directly. You are not going to get those years back, but you have the years ahead. And the years ahead can be different, not because your circumstances change, because your hours change, because a portion of the discretionary time, 1 hour, 45 minutes, even 30 minutes, gets directed instead of consumed. Do not waste your life, not dramatically, just daily. One intentional morning session, one directed evening hour, one small, consistent, cumulative choice to build something rather than consume something. Because the life lived intentionally, even slightly more intentionally than before, produces something after 1 year that passive consumption never can. A closer picture, a developing English, a direction. That is not nothing. That is everything. See you in the next one. Stay calm, stay intentional, and do not waste another day.